Hello and welcome to episode 156 of the Graceful Tangle podcast. I'm Amy Kate and thank you so much for joining me today. It has been so long since I last filmed a podcast episode, and it feels a little bit weird to be back talking about all of these things, but I am also so happy to be doing so, and I hope that you just enjoy the episode. I am excited to be sharing a few things that I have been working on lately, and talk about some books that I've read recently. I kind of want to start that as a new segment of the podcast, a devotional, of course, towards the end, and yeah, let's just go ahead and hop right into it. So obviously it has been a very long time since I last filmed a podcast episode, so I am not about to even try to share all of the things that I have finished in that time. That would be ridiculous, but I thought I would share a couple of things that I have finished in the past couple of weeks, and then also some things that I am currently working on. So the first thing that I have finished is actually a new design that's going to be releasing later this week, assuming that this podcast goes live when I hope, or when I am planning for it to, and that is a new dishcloth design. So this one is going to be called the woven dishcloth, I believe. Name still pending, but I think that's what I'm going to go with. It's just a super simple knit dishcloth design. It features the basket weave stitch in the middle, but with a garter ridge like edging or border, if you will, which I love. I love the way that it turned out. I have a like full blanket or throw that kind of uses this same technique called the Amethyst Dreams blanket that I released years ago now, and now this is a dishcloth version. I have found that I prefer, and my mom more importantly prefers, using knitted dishcloths over crocheted dishcloths, just as like a preference. So I'm trying to make some more knitted ones, but also some more knit dishcloth designs to release. Anyway, so this is one of them, and I really love how it turned out. I used Knit Picks Dishy, of course, which is my go-to in terms of cotton yarn. I don't remember this colorway name, but I think it's probably mint or something like that. But yeah, I really love this stitch, but I specifically love it in like a light solid color like this. I just think it's so pretty and it showcases the stitch so well. It can easily be hidden if the yarn is like variegated, but with a light solid color like this, you can really tell the uniqueness of it, for like a bit of phrase. But love that. So stay tuned for that pattern if you are interested in checking it out. The next thing that I have finished lately is so completely random, but I really like the way that it turned out. So I had this lamp that the finish was just like a mess. It was sticky for some reason, and then I tried to clean it and that just made it a whole lot worse. So I decided to, but I love the lamp. It works so well. It's like LED and it has a few different settings in terms of brightness. So, and it like fits on my desk so well. I didn't want to just get rid of it or get a new lamp. So I decided to yarn mom it, if you've heard of that phrase before. And I just like made a whole bunch of crocheted flowers and of like various sizes and styles, some leaves, some like little circles, wrapped yarn around the stem, maybe what it's called, of the lamp itself. Added some to the top as well. Basically just covered that sticky, frustrating black surface with crocheted items and hot glued them to it, and it kind of turned out so cute. I love the way that it looks. I feel like it looks a little bit, I don't know, wonky on the camera. To me it looks a little bit more, I don't know what the word would be, less awkward, I guess, in person. Actually on my desk it looks more like a, I don't know, piece of furniture, something useful than, I don't know. It just looks weird on the camera to me, but still really love it. I actually ran out of hot glue, so I would like to add like a few more flowers, I think, on this side and then maybe on the underside. I don't know yet, but regardless, love the way that it turned out. It's just kind of one of those fun things that I made to save this lamp, honestly. I used some yarn that I love. I'm actually using it for another project right now too, but it's We Crochet Animation, which is like these little mini balls. I think I have one. Yeah, this one still has the label on it. So they look like this. They come in these mini sets. There's a few different like color palettes available, but it's just 100% moisturized cotton, 69 yards, 25 grams. It's a DK weight. So it's really great for like amigurumi and things like that, but I just love the colors and I love working with it. And so that's what I used to make almost all of these flowers. I made a few with like some sock yarn. Let's see if I can point them out. Like this one right here, I just had some sock yarn that I decided to use as well. But for the most part, it's all of this yarn in many colors. But yeah, I love the way that turned out. My desk is white, and so it's a nice little kind of pop of color. And I just love floral things so much. So yeah, super fun little thing to make. Completely random, honestly, but a lot of fun, which is nice. Kind of on that same note, I have had this yarn for so long and finally just bit the bullet and decided to go for this project and make it. Honestly, it did not turn out exactly the way that I was hoping, but it's gonna be, I don't know, totally fine regardless, and I'm just gonna not worry about it. So I had, I think, 6 balls of this yarn. Yarn being Eternal Bliss is the brand. It's this jumbo yarn. I had bought it to make a blanket with. I believe that was my original plan. It was years ago at this point. I think I was gonna hand knit it, which is exactly what I did. But I have just learned that I prefer to knit with actual needles instead of my hands. So I just like tried it and it didn't work at first, and so I just put it off. But this yarn takes up a lot of space, and so I'm like, I just need to make something with it already. And so that's exactly what I did this morning. Actually, I hunkered down and just did it, and honestly I loved it, and I would love to do it again one day, which is a little bit ironic. Unfortunately, I like cast on, again, this is just hand knitted. You could look up a tutorial on YouTube for kind of that technique if you're not familiar with it, but I cast on 35 stitches, I think. I wish in hindsight I had done more like, I don't know, 30, 25, somewhere around there, because then it could have been a little bit longer. It's as wide as I want it to be if I was choosing, but it is obviously nowhere near as long. I needed like double the amount of yarn that I had. So it kind of works out well as like just a lap blanket, which is gonna be nice actually now that I'm sitting down and using it. Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be great actually, but it also looks really good just at the foot of my bed, so not folded or anything, just like laid on top, specifically over like a white blanket or quilt or comforter or whatever. So yeah, such a random project, but I'm really glad that I finally used this yarn, and it was honestly so fun to do. So I plan to do it again one day, but just make it bigger overall. I would love. So I want to figure out how to do that, how much yarn I actually need and stuff like that. It wasn't super expensive either, especially like Hobby Lobby yarn. All of it goes on 30% off either every other week or every third week. I'm not sure which. But it was a lot of fun. So I plan to do it again, probably in the fall. Summer is not a great time to make a project like this, I will admit. Even in the air conditioning, it's a little bit too toasty. But I still really like the way that it turned out. And once I got the hang of it, I was able to go pretty fast, which was nice and a lot of fun. So anyways, completely random again, but I'm really glad that I finally used this yarn. It's no longer taking up space. It didn't go to waste or anything like that. Yeah, love it a lot. And it's perfect for arm knitting or hand knitting. So if you want to try this technique, I would highly recommend this yarn. It was so easy to work with, which just made it that much more enjoyable, of course. Alrighty, let's talk about a couple of things that I am currently working on. The first of which being a sweater that I am super excited about. So I am working on the Nurtured sweater, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. I have the pattern printed out, but I don't think I printed out the actual picture of the finished sweater because I didn't really need that page. Oh, here we go. You're not going to be able to see it super well because it is black and white, and I'm sure that you're familiar with this pattern. But here's what her version looks like. I am using this wonderfully neutral color of Brava Sport, and I don't have a label in here, so I don't remember the colorway off the top of my head, but it's like a really nice neutral beige kind of tan color. If you're not familiar with this pattern, it is constructed from the bottom up and then joined at the yoke, and then you decrease for the raglan section and end at the neckline. So I believe this is maybe the only, I'm trying to remember, one of the only sweaters that I have knit with this construction, but it's been great so far. So I have both sleeves finished, and this is what those look like. Okay, for a second there, I thought they were different lengths, and that would not have been ideal, but they're not. We're good. Anyway, so both sleeves are complete. I just love the texture of this so much. Oh my goodness. It's so squishy. It's going to be such a good winter staple. Actually planning on wearing it. This is like a kind of romper thing. Works really good with just a tank top under it for the summer, but for this winter, I love putting like a sweater on top of it, and that is my plan for this sweater exactly. So I'm very excited to wear it come fall. So I have both sleeves done, and then I am working on the body now, which is right here. I'm not super far into it, but here's what it currently looks like. So again, you just start at the hemline, and now I am working my way all the way up until I get to the underarms. And then I'll join the sleeves all together and form the yoke that way. So super interesting construction, but also pretty intuitive. I do like top-down construction better, but I understand why it's this way for this specific pattern and the stitch pattern, and it's gonna be totally fine. So super excited to keep working on this and then have a brand new sweater to wear come fall. It's gonna be amazing. Let's see, what else am I working on? Using the same yarn that I talked about for that lamp project, making another kind of floral pattern. So I have, this is going to be a little bit difficult to show because I'm not super far into it, but I had this vase and I have made like crochet floral bouquets before, but not one for myself. I've just made them and given them to other people, and I really wanted one in my own room. So I am using this vase and making a whole bunch of crochet flowers like this. So just making the flower and then attaching the like floral wire to it, twisting it to look a little bit like a stem, and then literally just placing it in the vase. And I'm going to do that a whole bunch of times to form the full bouquet. So far, I have made just a bunch of flowers. I'm also going to be releasing this as a pattern and making a video tutorial to go along with it. So stay tuned for that because I think it's going to be a really fun project. But so far I've just made all these little flowers. I'm just making one with like all of the colors of this same animation yarn that I have here, and I think it'll be so beautiful. I'm making them like a bunch of different sizes. I'm gonna do some leaves and attach those. Yeah, just kind of a fun little mindless project, but it's gonna be great. I'm realizing I have some pink of this yarn somewhere. Oh, I already used it. That's why it's not in here. Like I need a brighter color. Anyway, and this yarn also, I have used it for so many projects now, and it has gone so far. Like it just, I think part of it is because I've made so many small little things, so it doesn't take much yarn, but still, the little skeins go a long way, which is just super nice. So that's something that I'm working on the side as well. I'm kind of hoping to have that tutorial and pattern go live next week, so stay tuned for that. I'm hoping I can meet that goal, but we'll see. Either way, it has been super fun to work on so far. And then the last thing that I'm currently working on is a super long-term project, and it will probably not be done anytime soon, but I thought I would show it just because I don't even know if I've shared it on the podcast before, but if I have been working on it since the last episode, I do believe, so over a year, but that's okay. So this is the Habitation Throw, which is a pattern that is designed for a advent calendar, but a knit version instead of like a crocheted blanket using advent yarn. It's also knit in the round, and so the blanket itself is going to be circular, which is super cool. I've made only a few blankets like that and never a knit one. So this one has been so fun to work on. I will say there are so many stitches on these needles right now. If I have the pattern handy, I do. So I currently have, let's see if I can find it really quick. 576 stitches on the needles. So one round of this blanket is 576 stitches, which is crazy. I will also say that I believe the pattern calls for fingering weight yarn, and I have kind of unknowingly used what I believe is some DK as well. This is an advent calendar that I received from a friend, again, a long time ago, and I wasn't sure what weight of yarn that it was. I could have tested it, and I just didn't. I think it's kind of a mix. Like, there's some fingering and there's some DK, so size might be a little bit off. I'm also hoping that I have enough fingering weight yarn, period, to make this as big as I want it to make it, as big as I want it to be. So we will see. But either way, it is such a fun project to work on. Like, perfect for turning on a movie or a show or a podcast and just knitting for a good long while. Lots and lots of just plain stockinette, and then there's like an increase round every now and then, a couple of pattern rounds to form like the eyelet sections. But overall, such a mindless project that I am enjoying so much, which has been a blast. So that is it for all of the making projects that I am currently working on. Since I last filmed a podcast, really, I have fallen in love with reading. I've read so many books over the past 18 months or so, but I thought I would just kind of insert a new little section of the podcast and share a couple of books that I've been reading lately. So most recently, I read The Hidden Life of Cecily, I'm not sure how to say it, Larson. This is a historical fiction novel, which is one of my favorite genres. Basically about this young girl who is sold into the circus. And then it just kind of takes you on the journey of her life from there. She gets pregnant, has a kid, but then something crazy and sad happens, and you just kind of see that play out for the rest of the book. I don't want to give any spoilers, but it's so good. It's dual timeline, which is one of my favorites as well. So you're kind of working with multiple perspectives, but also this same person at different points of their life, which I just think is such a cool perspective to write from. So yeah, fully enjoyed this one. Highly recommend it if you like historical fiction. And then I'm on chapter 2, so I am not far along at all in this one, but I love this author, Heather Morris. This is called Sisters Under the Rising Sun. Again, a historical fiction novel. I have read the, I'm just gonna hold it up. I cannot say this word, and I'm not just gonna butcher it on camera, but I've read another book by her. Absolutely love it. I have not watched, I believe it has been turned into a show, and I have not watched that, but the book itself was absolutely amazing and beautiful and heartbreaking, all of the emotions. But I'm currently reading this one, which is, I mean, again, I'm only on chapter 2, so I will just give you another update in the next episode, because I'm sure I'll have it finished by then. But absolutely love it so far, and I know they're going to, because I really enjoy this author. Side note, if you have an Ollie's near you, their book selection is amazing, and this book was $5, which is just such a steal, and they had another discount on top of that, so it was so inexpensive, which is really awesome. I love the library as a source to get free books. I also have Libby, which you can use connected to your library card and then check out books electronically, which is amazing. But if I could have the physical copy for an inexpensive cost, that is always my preference. It always for sure allows that. And it's pretty, their selection is so random, but pretty impressive, honestly. I got both of these and a couple of other books when I went a couple weeks ago. But anyways, such a good book so far, and I will update more as time goes on. My favorite combo is to have a fiction or historical fiction book going at the same time as a like a spiritual development book, or kind of something like nonfiction, something along those lines. And so I'm currently reading The Christian Life by Sinclair Ferguson. I'm about halfway through this, I would say. Let's see. I think I'm on chapter 10, and there's like 18 chapters, I think. So about halfway through. Again, really, really good so far. I like his writing a lot. It's pretty deep, but I would also say just a good synopsis of what it's like, what it looks like to be a Christian. Talks about terms like justification and repentance, born again, sin, called by God, the elect, just kind of those broad topics that are discussed a lot and very important doctrines to understand and know and believe, and he just kind of walks you through them one by one, chapter by chapter within this book. Obviously not, it's pretty short, so not at great length, but deeper detail than some, I suppose. Really enjoying it so far. Yeah, it's been great. And then that leads me into the devotional segment for this episode, which I am currently reading through the Psalms, and I'm not super far in. I'm on Psalm 10 right now, but Psalm 9 is the one that I wanted to focus on for this specific podcast. Specifically verses 1 through 2, they say, I will thank the Lord with all my heart. I will declare all your wondrous works. I will rejoice and boast about you. I will sing about your name most high. And I read that last night, and it was just such a good reminder to just ask myself, what am I talking about the most? What am I boasting about? What am I rejoicing in? What am I thanking God for? Am I thanking God for anything intentionally? Am I aware of the fact that he has already ordained what's going to happen, and therefore I don't need to worry because I just have to trust him and know that he's going to provide the next steps. And I'm not supposed to rejoice in or boast in myself and the things that I have done or accomplished, but only what he has. What he has blessed me with the ability to do, and I can give him all of the praise and all of the glory for that, and then do those things well in his name. So it's just a really good reminder to me personally. Again, I will thank the Lord with all of my heart. So the innermost pieces of us is just to me thanking him. I will declare all your wondrous works. Talk about what he has done again and again and again. I will rejoice and boast about you. Again, not in myself, but about you alone. I will sing about your name most high. What are we talking about? What are we singing about the most? What are we declaring to those around us? Are they things of him or things of us? Things of good and perfect and pleasing to the Father, or things that are just of this world and frivolous and meaningless past this life? It's just I don't know, sometimes a hard thing, I think, but also a really good thing to just take a step back and recognize what is filling my mind the most. What am I speaking about? What am I excited about? What am I rejoicing in? Are they things of him or things of myself? And if they're things of myself, how can I go about repenting? How can I ask for forgiveness from that and then be different moving forward? But anyway, again, that's Psalm 9 verses 1 and 2. I would highly encourage you to just read a psalm a day. It's so enlightening, honestly. So I found that it's a really good way to just start your day for sure, but also end it. And just like, I'm really good about, I don't know, I should not say it that way. It is more natural for me to start my day in the Word, to have that, dedicated time of morning quiet, focusing on him early in the morning. But when it gets to be late at night, I'm not as good about it. It's so much easier for me to take the last few minutes to look on my phone or read a book or whatever. And I want to be a lot more diligent about starting my day with him and ending my day with him, and praying before my day begins, and then praying when it concludes. And God, this thing went well and this thing didn't, but I praise you nonetheless. I just want to get a lot more diligent about that. But anyways, I hope that was encouraging for you. Again, I want to encourage you to read through the Psalms if it has been a while since you've done so. But yeah, I think that is it for this week's podcast. I am hoping to be back for good, kind of aiming at an every other week type of rhythm. We'll see what happens. But thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. Leave me a comment down below telling me what you're working on lately, what book you might be reading, a vacation that you've gone on this summer. I would just love to kind of continue the discussion down in the comments below. And like I said, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all again next time. Bye.